This is the deck list I'll be using in today's games. If you want an in-depth deck breakdown, then check out my previous video on the channel. Other than that, let's get right into the games. Okay, going first, we see a lot of bounce cards in our hand. That's pretty nice, that's what we want to see. We do see Stitch on turn 1, so we can probably get rid of one of these Rapunzels, and honestly the Shapeshifter Merlins are only really good in the mid game, so we can probably mulligan these. We're either looking for like a Lantern or a Rockstar Stitch. Well, Simba's great too. We can probably go ahead and ink this Purple Dragon, we're not going to need it for a long time, and we do have 4 of them in the deck, so that's fine. And we can just play out our Stitch. Turn 2 Simba's always going to be reliable. I think even in set 2, this is just going to be a really solid card. We'll start playing as Emerald, which is another one of those really hyped decks. I think discard aggro is going to be quite strong as well. So what we can do is we can either play a second Stitch or we can play Simba. Because we don't have Rockstar in our hand, I'm just going to get rid of this Stitch and just play off of what we do have rather than what we have in the deck. Starting off quite strong, solid board state. It's not quite Lilo Simba, but Stitch Simba works as well. Fortunately, we have no Lantern. My favourite combo right now is to play Lantern on turn 2 and then go for Merlin Rabbit on turn 3, and then on turn 4 you can play Mim. It's really solid. We can get rid of the Shapeshifter Merlin, honestly. Like I say, it's only really good in the mid to late game when you have a lot of like combo potential. I'm not going to play a unit however this turn, so we are quite slow on that front. But from next turn onwards we are going to start drawing a lot of cards and doing a lot of combos. Opponent does have a really big hand, especially for Emerald. They're playing Emerald Amber, which is quite cool. I think Emerald is going to be probably the ink colour to beat next set. And I mean Amber is really good now and it only gets better in set 2. Okay, so we do see our friends on the other side, which is quite... makes this ink quite a difficult decision. I think I will just probably ink this Rapunzel. Solely because we can just go for the Merlin to draw a card, which we see in other friends, so probably would have been better to ink friends, but that's fine. And then what we can do is we can hit this Stitch into this Flynn, and then we can just discard one of the friends actually. It's fine. I think just controlling Emerald is going to be a good idea. Then next time we can go into the Mim, which does have Rush, it's really good. And then we can bounce this one to draw another card. So we're just going to have quite consistent card draw from now. We have to discard another card. I think we can just discard the Snake, honestly. The opponent is going to draw a card for that because of the Prince John. So the opponent's going to have quite good card advantage for at least a while. What I can do as well is I can sing this friends on the other side with this rabbit. So it will draw us 2, and then we bounce it will draw us another one, so it draws us 3 cards, which is pretty solid. So I think I'm definitely going to go ahead and do this. And then do I even want to bounce it right now is a good question to ask. Other options are just going for like Goat, or we can go for like Lilo. I think I'm fine to just hit Simba into this cat and then just trade to Stitch with it. Should be fine. And then I'm not really liking this hand too much, so I can definitely just go ahead and bounce this Rabbit Merlin to draw an extra card as well. As you can see, just a lot of card draw. Do find Lantern, so I can ink this Befuddle actually, should be fine. Especially because we got rid of Snake earlier, we can't really bounce that. And then we can just go Lantern, and then we can just play Lantern to get Lilo out as well. So pretty solid turn though. And then like I say, we still have the Rabbit in hand to draw more cards. And this is kind of where the skill of the deck comes in, because you can play either Goat to push the aggression, or you can go for Rabbit to just get more card draw. In this situation though, we're definitely going to want more card draw. Thankfully the opponent whiffs on the aerial. Making us discard a card again, definitely the Goat. So discard aggro is definitely a deck I want to try out on the channel. It just seems very, very solid. I think Emerald's main issue in set 1 was that it just didn't have any card draw, but now it has card draw and makes you get rid of cards. It's just really solid. And you can definitely go for more of a mid-range style with it. So I will just definitely play this Rabbit first before I ink anything, just to see what we get. Cool, so we can ink this Befuddle and then play our Lantern and then draw another card. So we're going very wide here. So if we find a Mim, honestly, not too bad. So definitely just quest everything. And yeah, this is why people were saying that the Purple Dragon Mim is going to be quite weak, because you're never really going to have 2 cards to bounce. But here, if we had it, we could bounce back Rabbit and like this Maleficent, and then we draw an extra card and have this huge unit. So it's pretty solid. So we're going to see the Daisy Dark Prince John combo, which is going to be quite annoying to deal with. So when Daisy Dark quests, it makes us discard a card, and then every time we discard a card, our opponent draws. So it's going to be quite difficult to maintain card advantage. But I think with the right draws we can do it. We definitely had on board as well, which is the main thing to think about. Okay, cool, so we can just go ahead and draw another card with this Maleficent. And then we can just play this Lantern down. And then honestly, because we're going to discard cards anyway, we might as well just get rid of our whole hand. And then we can just quest with everything, and put the opponent in a really tricky situation. Between Emerald and Amber as inks, I don't think they have much to deal with this. Especially because we have two Simbas, the opponent's going to have a really hard time to get through all of this. They might have Rapunzel to draw them more cards, but at this point it doesn't really matter. Cool, so we do see this Goat Merlin, so I'm going to quest with everything, and there's a game. Let's just go with this for now. Actually, I kind of like keeping everything. I'll get rid of the Mim, I think. Cool. Yeah, I'm happy with this hand. It seems pretty good. It's a full set one hand, but it looks pretty strong. So we can just go turn 1 Lilo into turn 2 Simba. Let's see what the opponent's playing. Playing Sapphire. Cool. So we don't need 2 Befuddles. We could just ink this one. If it go for a turn 1 Lilo is always just quite strong, so we'll do that. And then like I say, we can follow up with the Bodyguard Simba turn 2, and then we can go into Maleficent and just draw a whole ton of cards, starting from turn 3. Yeah, that's what I like about this deck as well. If you've played a lot of set 1, then this deck's going to be very fluent, it would make a lot of sense, and then you just kind of have to adapt with the new bounce cards. While they are quite tricky to use, it kind of helps to have some like familiarity with some of the other cards from set 1. Especially if you played a lot of Rockstar aggro, it's all kind of the same stuff really. Cool, so we do see our first set 2 card here, Merlin. I think we're just probably going to go ahead and bounce. We're going to go ahead and probably just ink this Befuddle as well. That's both of our Befuddles gone, but we don't really need them. It's more just for like the early game aggression, which we've clearly just got full board control right now, so we can just do that. Like I say, next time we can just go into the Maleficent, Friends on the other side, just draw a whole load of cards, and then we can follow up with Rapunzel if Simba's still alive. And then we can start doing some tricky stuff with this Merlin. Hopefully we can draw some more bounce cards and show that off a bit more. But yeah, with this deck, you're mainly just going to be playing this set 1 aggro like you have been for the last couple of months. But it's reliable, it's strong, and right now it's still honestly the best we've got. Opponent's looking to be playing some kind of ramp deck with Fishbone Quill and some steel cards, so probably going to be expecting the new Cinderella. Also going to be expecting some heavy board clear coming up quite soon. Cool, so bit of a dilemma here. We do see Stitch. We can go for a turn 4 Rockstar Stitch, which might be good. Which I think I might actually do. Probably just go ahead and ink this Merlin. We don't see any other bounce cards, so there's no need to really keep it. And then yeah, we can just go for just the Stitch. If the opponent was putting some pressure on here, I'd probably go for Maleficent, try and draw some more cards. But because the opponent's not really doing much, we can just shift into Rockstar on turn 4, and it's really solid. As I say, not much has changed from set 1 so far, but you know, the deck just works, right? That's the good thing about Amber, it just works. Opponent's inking a lot, but they've only got 2 cards in hand, so I'm expecting a whole new world pretty soon. But other than that, I mean, we've kind of used all the strong cards in our hand. The rest of it's just card draw anyway, so if they whole new world us, it's kind of just fine. Okay, cool, so this is a very easy option to ink. We'll just go ahead and ink this Mim. We're going for more of the Rockstar game plan than the bounce game plan this game, which is totally fine as well. Because we've got a Bodyguard, we can actually just quest with this Stitch, and then we're already at 11, which is pretty good, especially for turn 4. That's the way you kind of want to pilot this deck, is you kind of just want to play this traditional set 1 aggro for the early game, and then transition more to like the bounce mid game and try to like burn your opponent out with Goat. The consistency of Rabbit as well really helps you draw cards, especially when you have Maleficent and Friends still. There's just so many ways you can draw cards in this deck, especially as well because you're playing Rapunzel. opted not to play Surface Stitch in this deck, mainly just because you're going to want to be bouncing cards a lot of the time. So if you're bouncing cards, there's not really a good chance that you're going to have 2 or more, especially not consistently. Opponent's very heavily ramping and using Beast Mirror still. But I think it might be a little too late. Their board state's not really too strong, they have no cards in hand. I mean, we've just accelerated so quickly, I don't think there's much the opponent can really do here. And if they quest with the Bell, then we can just draw 2 cards with Rapunzel. So I'm more than happy to allow them to do that. There's no way for them to get past this Bodyguard as well. They are going to attack with Bell, which is just definitely not worth it. We do see the Rabbit Merlin, but I think we can just, honestly... yeah, we can probably just play Merlin here. Just let's draw a card. Probably ink this Stitch, is fine. And then I'll likely just quest with everything. We could take out the spell, but honestly, I think just pressing towards 20 is just the way to do it. I don't think there's anything the opponent can really do here. There's no way for them to really hit the 5 damage on the Stitch, especially since we still have this Bodyguard up, so I think this is a pretty secure win. Yeah, just gonna ink the hook. Yeah, solid game this one. Of course, we just quest with the Rockstar in this game. Okay, going first, that's what we like to see. Our hand's not too bad, it's not too good. I honestly like keeping a Rabbit Melon in the opener, just to make sure I've got it. It guarantees a lot of consistency in card draw, especially where we've got Maleficent and Friends as well, it's quite insane. And then I'll probably just get rid of one of the Mims and keep the rest. I like this, you traditionally want a mulligan for the stuff you normally would when you play a Rockstar deck in set 1. I'll go ahead and ink this Purple Dragon, don't really need it, and it's going to take so long until we can actually use it. I'm okay with going turn 2 into Lantern, because then I can turn 3 Rabbit, and then just start going crazy from there, just drawing a lot of cards. Don't really care much for this Merlin, to be honest. So I'll probably go ahead and ink it. And then I'll go ahead and play Lantern. That's one of the main issues with this card specifically, is that because it banishes itself if you can't bounce anything, it's not reliable to play on turn 2 at all. So you're playing against Sapphire Amethyst, which is pretty cool combination. Like I say, it's quite early on in the game, so it looks like we're going to go a bit crazy here. So we're going to play Lantern, and then we'll go ahead and ink. Honestly, this Maleficent, we don't really need it, it kind of just gets outclassed by the Rabbit here. And we'll go for Rabbit, draw us a card. And then next time what I can do is I can just go Fox Mim, and then bounce it back after I've quested with it to gain 1 quest and a lore. And it just gives me so many options from there, especially because this has Rush as well, I can just take out this Olaf. Cool, so I'm definitely questing with this Rabbit. And then yeah, I think I'll just play the Fox Mim, bounce back our Rabbit, which will let us draw a card, and then the Fox does have Rush, so I can just attack into this Olaf, which is really strong. And then if they quest with this Mickey, I can always just heal with Rapunzel to draw 2 more cards. Probably don't need Befuddled anymore, so I can get rid of that. And then I can probably just use Lantern. And I can either bounce this back, which I don't think is really worth it, or just go for Simba Bodyguard, which I think I just will. Might have been better to not put it in Bodyguard there, so then if they want to attack into any of my units, it just kind of kills the Mickey. But this is fine too, it might be some bait to get some Rapunzel draws. So here comes the main kind of skill of the deck, is deciding if I want to draw more cards or kind of burn my opponent. I think in this specific scenario, I'm actually just going to hit this Mim into the Mickey, and then I can just draw 2 cards with Rapunzel and see what our options are from there. So we see Friends and Rockstar. I'm probably going to ink one of these Friends. I don't think I need any more card draw, especially not with this hand. And then I can definitely quest with this Simba. And then I'm deciding if I want to use this Mim. I can either bounce back the Fox Mim, but I think that might just not be worth it. Another option I can do is bounce back this Rapunzel and then draw more cards with it. But I think with this hand, I kind of want to start utilizing the Goat a bit more. Just progressing us towards that win condition before the opponent ramps up a bit too high. We do always have the threat of just the explosiveness of Rockstar Stitch as well, which is important to keep in mind. This is definitely this is definitely a deck where you have two kind of game plans. You can either go for like a bounce kind of burn style of play, which is outvaluing your opponent, or you can go for those explosive Rockstar turns. I think here I'm going to start trying to burn the opponent down, so I'll go for my Goat Merlin here, which will gain me a lore, and then I can honestly just ink this Rockstar. I don't think I need it at all. And then I can Lantern, use this Mim to bounce back my Goat, gains me another lore, and then I'm probably just going to befuddle this Felice. Probably going to befuddle this Facilier. No, that's not worth it. I think I could just kill it actually. It looks like the opponent's going to start wanting to use a lot of item cards, so it's best just kind of get that out of the way now. It's important to note as well, Befuddle can also bounce back this Mim for me. So just lots of combo potential here.
Hello?
Opponent's trying to combo off here with Maurice, which is so cool to see. I think I have one turn where I can just start setting up with this Merlin. So I'll probably just go ahead and quest with the majority of the stuff here. There's not really much more to really think about. We can probably go ahead and sing as well. I think I'll probably sing with the Fox, with his friends, just to see some more cards in hand basically. So I can make these cards a bit cheaper here. I'm deciding to think if I want to draw another card. I think I do. So I'll honestly just Lantern out this Merlin to draw another card. It gives us a really wide board. We're not really questing for a lot, but we have a lot of combo potential coming up. I've got this Merlin set up that the opponent needs to get rid of, otherwise they're going to start doing a lot, especially starting next turn. So I can kind of quest with everything, bounce back this Mim, and then just play a lot of Goats. And then Merlin's going to quest for like maybe only 3 next turn, but that's still pretty good.